Good morning, everybody. It is day 101 of Heart and Hound Run to Save. Good morning, everybody. It is day 101 of Heart and Hound Run to Save, where me, my two dogs, we're running every day to bring awareness to sudden cardiac arrest in people under the age of 25, and to bring awareness and to educate and to bring prevention and conversations about prevention into the light of the medical field and into the light of just a family dynamic. Bring up the conversations to parents, to athletes, to sport trainers, to athletic trainers, to sport administrators, everybody that is involved in youth sports and just young people all around. We're trying to get the word out to all those people to show them what is out there and what is possible and how we can prevent young lives from being lost. So it is Saturday. That means it's our long run day. We have 15 miles today, 15 to 16. It's very good to be back at home doing a long run at home. We did a long run in Gallenberg last week, and yes, it was fun doing a long run in a different place, different scenery, but it was also a little stressful trying to figure out exact routes and everything to make sure we were hitting our mileage goal for last week. So it's good to be home. I know what route I'm going to take. I know where I'll have possible stops to fill up on water, to go to the bathroom, to do all that fun stuff. So it's nice to be back home. We've got 15 miles today, and this will be our last long run until our 50K next Saturday. So we have a 50K next Saturday. That adds up to 31 miles. So we'll be doing 31 miles next Saturday. And then 2 weeks from then, we'll be doing our full marathon at the Flying Pig. So we've got a lot coming up in the next couple weeks. Really, the main goal today is going to be focus on pacing, focus on nutrition, focus on, just staying in a good aerobic base building pace, as well as doing a couple small sessions within my run, small segments of strategic pacing to increase my aerobic capacity and just test my aerobic engine currently. But the goal is also not to blow up today and then have a bad week leading up to that 50K. So going to be a lot of focus the next couple weeks on nutrition, hydration, tapering down to both of these races. So stay tuned for all those. I plan on doing a lot of content especially from the 50K and the pig as well. So that's what we got coming up in the next couple weeks. But today we've got 15 to 16 miles. So let's get it. Oh, hi, Maverick. Hi, buddy. Oh, thank you. Hi, Bubba. Hi, buddy. Oh, oh. All right, so obviously you can tell I go through this whole mobility, dynamic stretching slash just pliability routine that I like to do before. If I can fit it in before all my runs, I like to do it before all my runs. Just gets me nice and loose, gets me prepped and ready to go to run. Keeps me from getting any pain during my runs, whether that be in my knees, my ankles, my feet, my calves feeling tight. So this is a very important step of my running. Some people say, "Oh, don't stretch before you run." I've done both. I used to not stretch at all, like ever. But then I had some injuries come up, so I started stretching, doing a little dynamic mobility, pliability work, and it's really helped keep me injury free. So I don't do a lot. It's just like a little 5 to 10 minute routine that I like to do, mainly focusing on the quads, the hip flexors, the hamstrings, and the calves. Just doing a couple mobility exercises each muscle group, making sure we're nice and ready to go, keeping us injury free. Come here, buddy. Missy, come here. Moose, Moose, come here. It's not bedtime. Come on. All right, boys, you ready? You ready, Maverick? Shh. Ready, Moosey? All right, let's go. Like always, homemade gel number 1 down the hatch. Never gets old. Alright, we're about halfway in to our long run today. Going real smooth. Very smooth. Like I said earlier, so nice to be back in the routine of things. It is nice to get a little vacation, get a little travel, get a little adventure, but it does bring on a little bit of stress, especially when we're training for the races that we're training for the runs that we're training for, trying to fit in our runs while on vacation. It's doable, but it does create a little bit of stress and a bit of a pain point and a bit of friction in your life, trying to fit those in while also enjoying yourself on vacation. So Gatlinburg was fun. Adventuring with the family and the dogs was a good time, but it is very nice to get back into a routine. I am a very routine-based person, habit-based person. I like my routine. I like being in a routine. I like knowing what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna eat, what I'm gonna drink. I like knowing it all. Maybe some of you will call me a control freak, maybe I am, but I like it. So we're about to finish up this run. We got about 7 miles left, and we'll call it a day. Let's go. Whoa. Ooh, it smells like Ballpark Franks down here, fellas. Ballpark's right over there. It smells like Ballpark Franks. Just cracked 11 miles. About to take gel number 2. About 62 grams of carbs in this bad boy. I have about 60 grams of carbs in here. Very efficient, easy to carry. Let's take it down. Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Good boy, Moosey. There it is. Open up that trot. Good boys. Go. Let's go. Good boys. Whoa. Whoa, good boys. Good boys, yes. Good boys. Good boys. That's my boys. Check it out. Hi, Moosey. Hi, sweet boy. Good boy. What's going on, everybody? Kyle coming back to you with another weekly recap for week 14. We just wrapped up week 14 last week. We had a couple days where we were in Gatlinburg for spring break, Monday and Tuesday. So we had a couple out of the town runs. And then we got back home on Wednesday. Got our running in the rest of the week, got a long run back at home. Having a long run in a different city, in a different state, it was fun, it was scenic, good change of pace, but I definitely missed knowing kind of what my route looks like, knowing what to expect where, knowing where there's bathroom stops, knowing where there's water stops, knowing where where everything's at, so in case something happens, you know where you can go. That was the stressful part of running somewhere else, but it was also fun. So got that out of the way, got back from spring break, had a good 4 days of work where we didn't have school. We just had the days off. So we got up in the mornings, got our work in, got our lift in, strength training session, and we got our runs in. And we ended the week with 60 miles. We ended Friday with about 6 miles. We had a long run on Saturday with 15.5 to 16 miles, and it felt great. So we are now heading into the taper for our 50K. That is on Saturday, April 18th. It's actually Wednesday right now, so it'll be this coming Saturday in 3 days. So I finally got a chance to film this little recap. So we ended last week with about 60 to 62 miles, somewhere around there. Here, I'll check Strava real quick. If you want to follow me on Strava, I'll put that down in the description. But we ended last week with 60.5 miles. So really, really felt good. It's kind of been our sweet spot the last couple of weeks as we're gearing up for this 50K and for the Flying Pig Marathon in 2 weeks. Our sweet spot's kind of been in that 60 to 62 range miles per week. So that's kind of where we've been sticking, trying to dial in nutrition, dial in kind of where we want to be weight-wise for race day, how we want to be feeling come race day. We don't want to make any big changes. We're actually I'm kind of cutting out all the extra foods, really dialing in, kind of eating the same thing every single day for every single meal. It kind of looks the same every single day, and I know it's crazy, but if you'll see out there in the fitness community, it's about the easiest way to kind of dial in your performance, your nutrition, your physique. All of that comes down to what you're fueling your body with. And really, if you're just eating the same thing every single day, kind of like a dog or a horse or a cow, or, any of those animals that, they eat the same thing every single day, they don't get tired of it. They get the same portions, the same sizing, the same food. It just works. You find out what works for your body and you can stick to it. And you know that every single day you can count on what you're putting in your body to be able to fuel you for your performance. Specifically for me and my dogs, I know exactly what I need. I know exactly what they need to fuel our performance, to be able to be feeling good, be able to recover, be able to get good sleep, and be able to perform day in and day out. because we're running every single day for this mission. Our mission, if you don't know, of Heart and Hound, it's right here, I got it on the shirt, is we're running every day to bring awareness to sudden cardiac arrest in people under the age of 25. I had my open heart surgery at the age of 22, and it changed my life forever. I had no idea I had a heart issue, a heart condition, or a heart murmur until I went for a yearly physical. So just trying to bring awareness to, young athletes who are still playing and young athletes who maybe finished high school, aren't playing into college, and get out of the routine of going for yearly physicals. If I would have done that, I would not be here today telling my story. I stayed in the routine of doing the yearly physicals, and that's truly what's ended up sparking the flame that turned into my open heart surgery and saved my life. So without sticking to a routine of yearly physicals, I truly believe I wouldn't be here today. So trying to bring awareness to that, pushing young adults to not just think you're healthy and go about your day. At least go once a year. Get your blood drawn once a year at minimum. If you can, do it more than once a year. I think I've been getting mine anywhere from 2 to 3 times a year. So I would like to do it even more than that. Like I'm debating going into getting Rhythm, which is a blood paneling service that is monthly. I've been debating getting that, so I know exactly what's going on in my body. But just know what's going on in your body. You don't always feel it. I didn't feel it. I had no idea I had a heart murmur. I had no idea that I was in the midst of heart failure. And I had no idea that I had weeks to live until my family physician sent me for an echocardiogram, and they told me I needed to get in for open heart surgery as soon as possible. So it can come. I was healthy. I was fit. I ate right. I worked out. I stayed healthy. And it still happened to me. It can happen to anybody. And that's what we're trying to push here. It can happen to anybody, whether you think you're in the best shape of your life, whether you're a young athlete, whether you're an endurance athlete, whether you're whatever you are. If you're just in shape and you like to work out and stay in shape and eat right, you can still have these things going on without you knowing. Actually, you being in shape masks the symptoms that you could be showing because you're in such good shape. That's what happened to me. I didn't know it because I was in such good shape outside of that it was masking the symptoms that I was feeling and kind of covering up the symptoms that were there that I didn't even notice because my body was reacting and working to not show those signs and to work around the problem at hand, which was my heart failing. So, like I said, we're leading up to this 50K. The boys are running with me on Saturday, so we've got them all ready to go. I've got their snacks. So I keep getting questions about what I'm doing to fuel my dogs for this 50K. We'll have 31 miles. We're going to do it over 10 hours. The race is set up kind of like a backyard ultra. We're doing basically a 5K every hour on the hour, starting at 8 a.m., ending at 5 p.m. So we'll do a 5K out on the hour. And then when you get back from the 5K, you do your exercise of choice, whether that's push-ups, squats, sit-ups, things of that nature. You do 100 reps or something like that. It's just like a little added feature to the race. And then you have the rest of the time as your rest period. And then you go back into your next round. So we have basically 10 5Ks to run within a 10-hour period. So my plan, especially with the dogs, I'm more worried about the dogs than I am of myself. I think I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I'm more worried of making sure I have everything I need for the dogs, make sure they're safe, healthy, and fit the entire time. So my plan, I'm obviously going to have plenty of water. They will not be allowed to drink a ton of water in between each rep, each loop, just because you don't want them drinking a bunch of water and then going out and doing activity, because then they can get bloat. Same thing with eating. You don't want them eating a big meal and then going and running. So they're literally every loop, I'll put a little bit of water in each of their bowls. They'll get a little water just to kind of wet their lips, wet their tongue, wet their mouth. And then that's kind of all they'll get. I also have bone broth, which is like a natural electrolyte for dogs. So I'll give them a little bone broth mixture into each of those, maybe every other loop or every 2 or 3 loops. And then I also have food-wise, so that's going to be their hydration.
food-wise, I have sardines, which is a good, healthy fat source for them. I have peanut butter, again, a good, healthy fat source, and I have bananas. So dogs mainly run, specifically endurance athletes, run off of fat. They're incredible fat oxidators. They're incredibly good at, their body is good at fat oxidation. So they run most of their energy off of fat storage and fat that's in their body. So that's why we're feeding sardines. That's why we're feeding peanut butter. And again, like, it's going to be every 2 or 3 loops, I may crack a can of sardines, give them a couple pieces of sardines, give them a little water, and then they're good to go. The bone broth also has a little protein in it, and good vitamins and nutrients in it. And then the peanut butter is another good fat source. We can give them a little bit, like a little tiny spoonful every couple laps, just to make sure they have enough energy and fuel to go for the 30 miles. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll make it perfectly fine. I am more worried about their paws kind of hanging on. It is going to be a little warm. It might rain. So I obviously am going to be taking their wagwear shoes and using those as needed and kind of as preventative measure. So it's going to be definitely a learning curve. I've never done anything like this. I've never ran this far before. These dogs have never ran this far before. The farthest I've done is a marathon. The farthest they've gone is 20 to 22 miles with me. So I think they have the endurance. I think I have the endurance. It's more about fueling properly, having the right gear, having the right hydration, and going into that. So like I said, that's a weekly recap of week 14, kind of an overview of what is to come. Please stay tuned. I'm going to do a whole video about the 50K. And on the 50K, I'm going to do a whole video, like kind of a documentary of running the 50K with my dogs, kind of a 10-hour encompassed video. I'm obviously not going to have a 10-hour video, but worth 10 hours worth of content to choose from. And then I'm also going to do a recap after the race, maybe probably on Sunday or the day after that, and hopefully get it out to you guys midweek the following week. So stay tuned for that. Again, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Strava, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and keep track of us and me and the boys and Team Heart and Hound. And if you're open, if this resonates with you, if my mission resonates with you, I will put the link to our donation pages down in the description. If you could donate, we are looking for donations for our American Heart Association team for the Chicago Marathon that we got elected to run in. So I got on the American Heart Association team, but with that comes a fundraising requirement where we have to fundraise. So if you resonate with our mission, help us fundraise for that and be able to run in that. And as well as if you want to fund a heart screening, I will also put that link down below where you can fund a heart screening for a young athlete out there age 12 to 22. And I've spiced things up a little bit. I have said every $10 donation to our American Heart Association team for the Chicago Marathon, we will run 1 mile. For every $79 heart screening that is funded, we will run 10 miles. And for every $100 donation to either of our fundraising campaigns, the Chicago Marathon, American Heart Association, or to our funding heart screenings, any $100 donation to either one of those, we will run 20 miles. So if you want to make us run a little bit more than we already do, please donate and help out the causes that we truly believe in that are so near and dear to my heart and our team. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, everybody. And remember, prevention is the standard, not the exception. See ya on the 50K.